Suoslay natang AhNy. Welcome to Khmer Voices, where we shine a spotlight on the achievements of the Cambodian diaspora around the world. I'm your host, AhNy, aka Vanny. Episode 20, and it's going to be my last one for season 1. I've decided to break up the show into seasons because I really do think that a break is good to help reflect on the direction on where I'm going to be taking this podcast. And I've got a lot on the go right now. I don't know if you guys know, but I co-founded a nonprofit in BC, Canada, along with some friends called the Cambodian Cultural Center. And we just held our first event July 5th, and it was amazing. We have another one coming up in October. Let me know if you want to find the details of that, or you probably already know because we've been posting about it all over social media. Anyways, we did just start this nonprofit in May. Like, we became official in May, and I think we met sometime in May too, and we were talking about something else. And you know how things happen. When something's meant to happen, it happens really fast. So that's exactly what happened. And during that time, I came across the Cambodian Legacy Project on Instagram, and I see that they are active in their community in North Carolina. So I wanted to see what they were all about. So I sent a DM to the account, and I got connected with AhNy Jonas, who is the chief executive officer of the organization. Now, I wanted to know, obviously, like, what her story is and what she hopes to accomplish with the nonprofit organization, what they've done. I wanted some inspiration, basically. So before we dive into the episode, I want to read AhNy's bio. She actually officially goes by Kaovny, but in Khmer, we call her AhNy. So AhNy Jonas is a Cambodian-American advocate, nonprofit leader, and cultural educator based in Charlotte, North Carolina. She is the co-founder and chief executive officer of the Cambodian Legacy Project, a nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving Cambodian heritage while empowering the next generation of Cambodian-Americans to embrace both their cultural roots and American identity. Through storytelling, intergenerational connection, and community-based programming, AhNy works to strengthen cultural pride and belonging for families navigating dual identities. Born into a Cambodian refugee family, AhNy grew up carrying the weight of inherited trauma and the silent strength of a resilient people. Her lived experience navigating identity, culture erasure, and underrepresentation in schools inspired her to create a space where Cambodian voices could be heard, honored, and passed down. As a mother and community leader, she is passionate about bridging generational gaps and giving young Cambodian-Americans the tools to understand where they come from and who they're becoming. That is so aligned with what we're trying to do here in BC, Canada. So after reading that and after chatting with her, I just became even more inspired. Now, let's dive right into the episode. I hope you enjoy my chat with AhNy.
When my family came to the U.S., we came to the U.S. in 1982. I was only about 3 years old. My uncle had some people sponsor us here, and to be honest, that's about all I know, okay, as of like how we got to the U.S. But we lived in Oakland for like 2 years, and then we moved from Oakland to Stockton, California. And I stayed in Stockton, California until I was about 10 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being in Stockton and being around, a lot of Cambodian people. I had a lot of Cambodian friends, and we played like games such as like Kuong, which was like, a Cambodian game. And I remember like going into the neighbors. They used to have like little shops or like sell stuff out of their apartments as well. And we would have things like the got chu that we would buy from our neighbors and things of that nature. So I was very, very fond memories, and like in Psalm where people would sell that out of their
Mm.
backyards and stuff as well. And then the corn on the cob, of course, you know.
Yeah, with the coconut
So
milk.
those were
Yeah.
very, so those were like very fond memories that I had growing up there. And then at about 10 years old, I moved to Lawrence, Massachusetts, all the way across the country. So that was like a culture shock. Yeah. It was then around then is where I started to feel a little bit like, okay, there's not that many Cambodian people here. The majority were Hispanic people in Lawrence,
Could you
Massachusetts.
tell us in relation
hmm
to, say, Boston, where Lawrence, Massachusetts is, and what the population was
Um,
at that time?
Lo- I do not know at that time because, you know, just like I said, I was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just basically, you know, getting to know friends in elementary school. But it's around Lynn. It's not too far from Lowell or
Mm.
anything like that. Lowell, Massachusetts have a very, you know, big population of Cambodian now. So that is awesome. But so we moved there and I only lived there for about 2 years. During that time is kind of where I would say I started to have that welcome to America moment type of thing because I had some friends and I went over their house and I saw Barbie dolls. That was like the first time that I was like, wow, you have dolls. What is this? I didn't have any of this when I was growing up. And then like my Hispanic friend, I went over and had dinner and she had salad with like Italian dressing and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, this is all new to me. It was a culture shock, but I enjoyed it. I
Hmm.
enjoyed it so much. Yeah.
So Hispanic community, did you feel
hmm
they accepted you as their friend easily then? It sounded like.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I did. I did feel like, you know, I was okay with it because I guess because they were minorities as
Mm.
well. You
Okay.
see, so I felt like, you know, it kind of fit. We fit in. I got along with them just fine. And then from Lawrence, I moved to Providence, Rhode Island, and that's where my I would say from fifth grade to ninth grade is where I lived in Providence, Rhode Island, and there is where I basically, you know, started to I guess, you know, see, I guess less Cambodian people I was hanging around with. It was more, just like I said, as Hispanic or blacks and stuff like that. Just, you know, the minorities as well.
Mm-hmm.
But for I guess like growing up or when coming to America, I think like my parents kind of put like, you know, white Americans on a pedestal. So I kind of felt like I didn't fit in with them. I couldn't be friends with them. And I don't know why, but it was like that.
What was the reason
Yeah.
for you moving two times before you turned 12?
Um that is just my parents traveled a lot. Unfortunately, like my mom and my dad, they did not pick up the English language and they didn't have any skills. So unfortunately, we did live a lot, most of our lives on public assistance. And so like they basically went to places they felt like maybe like a sense they thought a sense of community,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like so like they maybe had a friend that lived there and be like, oh, okay, yeah, how about you come live here? Maybe, you know, it will be a little bit easier for you,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. And that's kind of why we traveled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel
Yeah.
like you didn't have enough of anything?
Um, I don't know if we could say that we didn't have enough of like as a materialistic things or
Anything,
yeah,
whether
of
it's
course.
emotional or
Yeah.
material? Because you
Oh.
mentioned that you didn't grow up with Barbies, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, so definitely material things. You know, we was like I remember growing up when it was cold, the school would actually give us coats and stuff.
Wow.
So like things of that nature, that's how we would receive, because just like I mentioned, my parents, they didn't speak English,
Uh-huh.
and the skills that they brought over was not beneficial to them. Like my dad lived in when we were in Cambodia, they lived in the village. So my dad was like a corner store owner,
Mm.
and my mom was like a street vendor.
Mm.
So she would like, make nombachok or whatever and sell it on the streets. So that's how they made a living.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they came to America, they didn't know how to use those skills
Mm-hmm.
with it, and unfortunately, they didn't have the proper resources to actually help them build and become successful in
Mm-hmm.
America, in my opinion.
So, given their limited skill set, were they encouraging you to pursue higher education?
They did encourage education, but they actually encourage working more, because that's how they were, and growing up. Unfortunately, not much education on their end as well. It's just basically like work, make money so you could survive.
Right.
So growing up, it was always work. I started working like since I was 13.
What were you
So
doing?
it was always like I was painting like jewelry, epoxy painting on jewelry. It was, of course, under the table work
Yeah.
at 13, But, and then after that, I just started like bussing tables, and then became a waitress. And so I started at a very young age as of working, because that's what was installed in me.
Right.
And, what was also a disadvantage was because they knew nothing of credit, right? So everything was like work, save up your money. You want a car, you have to work until you save up enough money, and your car is now purchased by cash only. And so anything of like value and expensive things, it was always like work, save up your money, and that's what we were taught.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, the education side, it was not much of a big deal as of like hard labor work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Growing up then, you were busy working at the age of
Mhm.
13 and onwards. What was school like when you were a teenager?
Um, School was interesting. I mean, that was a place where I would go and make friends.
Oh, sorry to
And
interrupt. So,
mhm,
from you said that you moved from Massachusetts. Where was your next location?
mhm. Providence, Rhode
Providence.
Island.
Okay. So Rhode Island,
So not
that's
too
where your
far.
teenage years occurred.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
sorry, now you
yeah.
can if you could tell me a little bit
It's
more
okay.
about your teenage
Yeah.
years.
So in Rhode Island, that's when a school was basically, I would go and make friends, and just learn the different culture. Around, just like I said, there was mostly just Hispanics and blacks, Haitians as well in my school. So I mean, I will be honest. I was not a school person. I was not. I would skip school as much as I can if I if only my parents do. But yeah, so I did do that. And if my children's listening, they're probably going to be like, "Well, mom."
How old are your kids?
But I know. I have a 23-year-old,
Oh,
15-year-old, 14-year-old, and 11-year-old. Yeah.
okay. So the 23-year-old, you're good. It's just the younger ones there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I did not like school.
Hmm.
And maybe it was because I don't know if I just didn't feel like I belonged that much, or I'm not sure.
Hmm.
But I did, teachers were my role model. So that's I actually went to school more so to actually like pay attention to the teachers than I did the students. Like I enjoyed home economics class because they
Hmm.
were teaching sewing there. I remember like my English teacher, as of like taking us out to eat at a fancy restaurant because she did well. So yes, I know. And so that was like a great experience,
Oh,
because those were things
wow.
that we never did at home. So
Yeah.
when she brought us to like a really nice fancy sit down restaurant, I was like in awe,
Uh-huh.
so that those were little things that I admired and cherish about some of those teachers
Were
that
your
I
teachers
had to.
representative of the population that they were teaching as well?
No, actually, both of them were white Americans.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the ones that I remember, most of them. One that I do remember that was Filipino. She was my second grade teacher. That was in California. So
Hmm.
those were some teachers that I remember and admire. But most of them were white Americans.
That's
Yeah.
so special that what
Mm-hmm.
your teacher did, the story that you told about taking the kids out to a nice restaurant
Mm-hmm.
and letting them see that this
Yeah.
could be your life too. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. Yes, and yes, I appreciate her. Her name was Miss Moody. If if she's still there, I remember you. You inspired
Oh,
me.
oh. You should probably try and find her
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Mhm.
If she's still around, it would be
I
great
know,
to
right?
reconnect. I
Yeah.
often think of my teachers too that
Yeah.
believed in me. And I can't remember their names. That's the
Mhm.
problem. I know I see their faces, but I cannot remember their names. And I
Mm.
often think about like what it would be like to reconnect with them and just tell them thank you for believing in me.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm. Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, so tell me about graduation. What were you thinking of doing after graduation? High school graduation.
After graduation, I was thinking of being a teacher. So
Mm.
I did went to college. My major started off as elementary education.
Mhm.
I went to the University of Memphis. So like freshman year, I moved to Memphis, Tennessee. So, because I had some family that was already living there, and it was just wanted a change of environment. So, I moved to Memphis, Tennessee, finished high school there, and then I went to University of Memphis, and my major was elementary education. I did not finish with the major of elementary education. I actually finished with business management
Mm.
instead. Yes,
Why did you
but
make that switch?
like my last year of college, I put a pause to it because I actually ended up moving to South Carolina. So I'm in North Carolina now. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina now. So I've kind of been all over the place, but I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina now. So my last year of college, I ended up moving to South Carolina, but I also put a pause because that's when I had my first child.
Okay.
Hmm.
And oh, I had a question while you were talking. Oh, were your parents excited? Were they proud of you that you got into college, A, and that you completed college?
That's a great question because what happened was I am actually the first out of the family to graduate high school in my families, and I have four siblings
Are you the
um,
eldest
older
or
than me.
Oh,
No, I'm in the
wow.
middle. So, and that was like another struggle that I see now, right? So I have my brother, my oldest brother. He was about 12 when we came to America, and then my other sister was 10. We were about 2 years apart, so 10, 12, 10, 8, and my other brother 6, and then I was about 3 when we came to America. So it was hard for them to adjust
Mhm.
when we came to America, just from the language barrier, the bullying, and things of that nature. So I understand how hard it was for them to adjust in the, school. But unfortunately, they all dropped out. I was the only one who finished high school and, and then went to college. Yeah.
Wow. Did they
Yeah.
how did they show their pride?
They were very happy. My dad, he was sick when I graduated high school. He was sick with stomach cancer, so unfortunately, he was not able to attend the graduation.
Mm.
But he was very proud. He was very
And your
proud.
siblings, did they
Yeah.
attend your graduation?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
My siblings that were there in Memphis, Tennessee, attended the
Oh.
graduation. But my older siblings, they went and got their GEDs.
Mm-hmm.
They're all successful now. They went to my one of my older sisters in nursing. The other
Mm-hmm.
one is in the medical field as of like corporate medical stuff. So, I mean, we all learned from our mistakes
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
Hmm.
happy that they were able to switch gears and turn
Yeah.
their lives around. And you
Yeah.
pretty much set the tone for your younger siblings.
Yes, yes, I guess so. I guess you
Yeah.
could say that, yeah, because they were all born here. So
Uh-huh.
after me, I do have two sisters, and then one younger brother, and yeah, they all went to school here, and they all graduated here. They are in like customer service or the restaurant business,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship, and things of that nature. So I'm very proud of them.
You
Hmm.
mentioned that you don't speak Khmer very well and you don't read and write the language. So does that mean that you didn't really speak it growing up?
No, so I speak Khmer and I understand it,
Uh-huh.
but I guess you could say like we speak the improper
Mm-hmm.
ways of Khmer,
Yeah.
so like stuff that you would just speak at home.
Right.
So, but like to hold on a conversation, I can definitely do so.
Okay.
But like things like say like how would you say the government or the
Mm.
president or
Mm-hmm.
like councilmen or things of that nature, like as a professional terms
Right.
in Cambodian, those are the words that I would not understand.
Yeah.
But as of like if you were having just a casual conversation, I can do that.
Right.
Writing it and reading it, I do not, and that's why it was like very important to me to learn it, but also to have my children learn it because they do not read, write, or speak the language.
Mm. Can you remind me how old they are again?
23, 15, 14, and 11.
Are they all keen on learning Khmer?
Yes, they all go to the Cambodian language class with me.
Oh, very cool. All right, so let's step back a
Uh-huh.
bit.
Okay.
So after college, what did you end up doing
Mhm.
professionally?
I was always in customer service.
Okay.
I was always like either collections,
Mm-hmm.
billing, product support,
Mm-hmm.
but I was always in customer service. And so then I was there for like maybe I would say 15 to 20 years
Mm-hmm.
doing customer service work. And then that's where I met my husband at work. Basically, from there, um, we ended up getting married, and then we had our first child together.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that's 15 years old. So that's when we decided, like, okay, am I going to work so we could just pay for daycare because it's
Mm-hmm.
so expensive, or be a stay-at-home mom? And then that's we decided to just be home to make sure that the kids were taken care of and safe. And so I've
Honestly,
been a
that's the hardest
stay-at-home
job.
mom.
Being a stay-at-home
Yeah.
mom, it's the hardest job. And that is why I work.
Yeah.
Like I work
Yeah.
outside the home. I shouldn't say that is why I work.
Uh-huh.
That is why I work outside the
Yeah.
home because
Yeah.
I do want to spend more time with my
Yeah.
kids, but like being doing it
Mhm.
full time, it's hard.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of
Yeah.
patience and I feel like
It does.
that wasn't really passed down to me how to exercise that appropriately.
Mm.
I'm very
Mm.
impatient and
Mm.
I can be short with my kids too and I recognize that and I'm working on
Mm.
that because I
Mhm.
see them reflecting my behavior back to me
Mm.
because they're
Mhm.
at that age now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes. My kids does the same thing. All my children do the same thing. And sometimes when I say something to them about it, they're like, "We're just acting like you, mom." And I was like, "Well, thanks a lot." Yeah. But Yeah, no, it is definitely hard work, but it is also a blessing to
Hmm.
be able to do that, right?
Exactly.
It's a
Yeah.
blessing to be able for my husband to be the breadwinner, so that way I could be at home with the kids to make sure that they're going to doctor's appointment,
Hmm.
their parent teachers conference, and all that is all taken care of. So that's something that I'm grateful for, and to always like make sure that they're okay.
Hmm.
But now that they're, older and able to take care of themselves is how I'm able to branch out into this nonprofit organization.
Great
Yeah,
segue.
because they're
Yes.
yeah.
So, when did you start this nonprofit organization? What is it called?
It's called the Cambodian Legacy Project.
Hmm.
And so our mission is to preserve the Cambodian culture by connecting with the younger generation. Being experiencing what I have growing up and with my children, I know that there's a disconnect there that needs to be bridged, right?
Hmm.
Which is the younger generation who cannot speak, right, or read the Cambodian language or anything of that nature is causing them not able to communicate with grandparents. So my mom, anytime that I need to communicate anything with my children, I have to be there. And that's kind of like the bridge that I'm trying to, make them where they're able to connect.
Hmm.
I'm trying to close up that gap there. So that's what's very important to me. But we preserve our culture through dance, art, and the language. So we do have the Cambodian dance classes that are held free to the public, as well as the Cambodian language classes that we hold that's free to the public.
So, is this a center that you have it at, or is it like rented space?
So we started at the temple.
Hmm.
So let me go back just a little bit. So we're so brand new, where we are a grassroots nonprofit organization, actually still in the process of getting our 501(c)(3) at this time. That we're hoping to get those papers at the end of this month. That's how new we are.
Hmm.
But the dance class was already there with my co-founder Kim. I love her. She's such a community worker, but she already had those classes established there at the temple.
Hmm.
And when me and my family went to the Cambodian language class, is when I met her, and I wanted to get involved. I was like, "What can I do to help?" I wanted to volunteer and just tell me what I needed to do to help this become bigger than what it is. And so with her guidance, we were able to establish the Cambodian Legacy Project.
What do you hope to? What are your ambitions for the Cambodian Legacy Project in the next year?
So we would like to be able to have like a dance studio,
Mm.
right? So then that way, the children, when they practice, they are able to be able to see themselves. I know like when you're in a dance studio, you're able to see yourself, which means you're able to correct yourself when you're dancing. Unfortunately, at the temple, they do not have that yet.
Mhm.
And then like a formal classroom, so then that we can have that classroom feel environment, as of like if we want to hang posters up that has the Cambodian, alphabet on there, or if we want to, just have projectors and stuff like that available. So it's accessible when we're ready to teach things on PowerPoint and things
Mhm.
of that nature, something of that environment. And then the children can feel more like a classroom setting, like what they're used to when they go to school every day. Like at the temple, and I'm very grateful that we have that location, but it's basically where they worship,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like we would have to bring the tables in, the chairs in, and then kind of set up the classroom where they worship. And sometimes, unfortunately, if there is something going on, like sometimes they do bon for, like, if somebody had passed, or if there's a certain event that they're doing there, class is delayed
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to work around their schedule as well. But I'm proud to announce that we rented out the Asian library here for the summer school. So we added Friday, Saturday to the class as well,
Uh-huh.
as and Sunday is still held at the temple.
Who's teaching
So
the
I'm
class?
happy
Who's
to.
teaching the classes?
So on Sunday, we do have Rukru. He is a monk, and
Mm.
he was also a teacher in Cambodia as well. So Rukru Ping,
Mm-hmm.
that's his name. He teaches the Sunday class. So he will be teaching the more moderate and advanced class at the temple. And then on Friday and Saturday is a high school graduate. His name is Johnny. He is actually graduated from grouping class where he learned the alphabets and all that. And so with Johnny being he went to school here in America. So I kind of felt like that would probably be like a little bit easier for him to teach, because he knows the experience
Mm-hmm.
of the American school system.
Mm-hmm.
And with us trying to reach the first generation who Cambodians who do not speak it or write it or anything of that nature, he would be the perfect teacher to do
Yeah,
so.
he's acting sort of
Yeah.
like a bridge between uh,
Yeah.
the next
Mhm.
generation and the current one. Awesome.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
he's perfect for it. We had our first class last Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and he was nervous. We were all nervous about it, but it went great. It
Mm-hmm.
went great, and we were able to get some very educational material too. Like we were able to get like the bilingual books and like the little puzzles, just a lot of hands-on material for the kids that I think that would make it fun for them, because I'm trying to kind of like integrate the way that the English or the American school system works to
Mm-hmm.
teach the alphabets and grammar and all that into the way we're trying to teach the Khmer class.
Yeah, that makes sense because they're
Mhm.
used to that. So I wanted to ask you about the Cambodian community. It sounds like it's quite vibrant in South Carolina.
Um, yes, it's like, as far as I know, because unfortunately, like the numbers are not correct,
Mm-hmm.
because the when the census were going out, the many of them did not mark accordingly.
Mm.
So, like from in Charlotte, we're assuming it's between like 1,500 to 2,000 around here. But as of North Carolina as a whole, it's a good amount of numbers. Like there's a lot of Cambodians in the Greensboro area,
Oh, my
and
apologies. I
it's
said South Carolina, but you're in North Carolina.
yes,
Okay.
I'm in North Carolina.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is there like a pocket of Cambodians, or is it more dispersed? Because I was talking to someone who lives in Chicago, and he was comparing his experience in Chicago with his
Uh-huh.
time in Long Beach, where growing up
Mm,
in Long Beach, it was very people lived close to each other, so it was easy to hang out
mm,
and get things organized.
mm,
Whereas in
mm.
Chicago, they're kind of like dispersed throughout the city. What is it like
Yeah,
in Charlotte?
yeah. I did listen to that podcast.
Hmm.
So hello, Chad. Right? Was it
Yes, it
Chad?
was. Yeah.
Right? Is that say yes? Tell him I am down for the Sarong global party that you suggested. I am so ready for that. I'm serious. I am actually probably going to like introduce that to my
That's
team and just
awesome.
do the potluck and sarong party. That just sounds so fun. But the global one would be awesome,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just imagine people from California to Philadelphia to Chicago and just do it all together. That would be so fun. Yeah, back to your question. I would say we are close, but unfortunately, like we would come together only in like major events,
Hmm.
like if like New Year's, you know what I mean, like Cambodian New Year, or like more Buddhist celebration. So they go to the temple when certain things like that happen, but unfortunately, they don't stay at the temple when nothing is happening. You know what
Mm,
I mean? Like they don't just go there and just like hang out and have a sense of community and just like be around each other.
mm,
And so that's why that's another thing that I would like to do in the Charlotte area, where it just doesn't have to be at the temple, but like just a community center where we actually can go and just hang out, get to know each other, network. Where college students could go there and introduce themselves, where the young ones could go play basketball or work on puzzles or read, like something of that nature. And maybe I'm just dreaming too big,
no.
but that's my goal.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose by dreaming
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic goal to have, and I can see that happening. Like why wouldn't it happen?
Yeah, yeah, like just like a boys and girls club
Mhm.
and type of environment, where they can come and be together, learn from one another, host our cultural events there,
Mhm.
dances, and things of that nature. That's something that I would love to have in like the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. At home, do
Yeah.
you celebrate Cambodian culture with your kids, or is it a mix of
Yes.
everything?
Yes. So, and I think like you seemed a little bit surprised when I said yes, my kids are on board. They have to come with me. Is because like when we were growing up, or when they were growing up, they were always around my family. So from the Cambodian food to the Cambodian music to all of that, they were surrounded by the Cambodian culture.
Mhm.
So they know how it is. I just want them to be able to know more about the history.
Right.
So that's also very important to me. No history, no self. And so that's why I want them to know more about just as of like what happened, why we came to America, but also know that we're more than just the war. We're more than just the genocide, because when we introduce ourselves as Cambodians, that's the first thing they want to talk about.
Mhm.
And I want them to know that we're more than that.
Mhm.
We have so much beauty within dancing, within the arts, it's just like so much more to talk about than just this genocide when, we talk about Cambodia. And that's what I want my children to know when they introduce themselves as being Cambodians as
Are
well.
they part of the dance
Mhm.
troupe as well? No?
No, my children are so shy. Yes,
Oh.
they're so shy. They so it's important to me to connect to the bigger audience, right? So I'm trying to integrate the traditional dance into modern dance, right? But so my 11-year-old, she would do it at home and
Mm.
show me the steps at
Mhm.
home. But then when we're at the dance studio with the kids that we're trying to teach it to, she just like totally freezes up and
Oh.
just yeah walk away and like no, I can't do it. So yeah, I'm trying to find some teachers to help with that. Like integrate the modern dance into the traditional dance so we can dance to more modern music like Laura Mom and Vanda and
Mm.
stuff like that, where
Mhm.
we're trying to do dances like that because I feel that will connect to the next generation.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
I really do. I feel like um, there's a lot of us out there who feel like they can't connect because of the more traditional ways, like the traditional dances and stuff like that. And they're maybe, more on the modern side of it. So,
Yeah, well, it's also important to keep the traditional as you are. because
Mm,
it was almost extinct,
mhm,
right? We
mhm,
it was almost lost on us because
mm.
artists were targeted during the genocide. But yeah, I do
Yeah.
see a sort of revitalization of our not just our culture, but of of all the arts as well, which is amazing to see. So maybe one day you guys will have a dance troupe traveling around North America. You know what would be cool? If we
Yeah.
had like competing dance troops. You know how like there's like cheerleading competitions?
Uh-huh.
It'd be cool to have
Uh-huh.
like
Uh-huh.
dance troops from different
Oh
parts
my
of North
gosh.
America compete for a title
Uh-huh.
of like
Oh
best in
my
North
god.
America. I guess
Oh my
Mexico
gosh,
would
that
be
would be
yeah.
amazing.
I don't know how many Cambodians are in
Oh my
Mexico, but
gosh.
if there are, they can participate too in this North American title.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, that would be awesome, right?
Hmm.
I mean, there's so many beautiful dance studios out there right now, like in Lowell and in California and stuff, you know. Their dancers are so amazing and they know the art so well. And so like certain areas like in Charlotte, unfortunately, I am still trying to find, someone who can help us in that, you
Hmm.
know? So we do have some dance teachers here, but everything is, volunteer
Hmm.
work. And so, like, if they go on vacation, then unfortunately, the whole dance team have to kind of be on vacation
Yeah.
type of deal. So, yeah, that's something that I do want to work on is to try and find and actually make it like a dance class where they are more invested in it. So that's what my hopes are
Oh,
to
that's
to
amazing. I
find
mean,
someone who will
you're
be
just
able to
getting
teach
started.
it.
Are you guys actually established? Because you said you're still getting the
Yeah.
paperwork done, right?
Oh, yes, like we're still getting the paperwork done, but as of like performances and stuff, we
Hmm.
we have like we the dance girls performed at the Dragon Boat Festival.
Mm.
And there is, it's an Asian international festival, but it's also Dragon Boat Festival. So there's the Dragon Boats competition there as well. But they have a lot of cultural dances. So the Cambodian dancers they did perform there as well.
Okay.
So and they performed at the Cambodian New Year. So like they do practice every Sunday after Cambodian language class, we practice the Cambodian dance class. We have the Cambodian dance class after that. So our practices are always on Sundays.
Well, that's amazing that you guys. I mean, if you just so was it last year you started this?
Yeah. So last year was where Kim started the program
Uh
for
huh.
the
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 dancing.
the language
Uh
class
huh.
and the dancing.
Uh
So
huh.
just like I said, that was already there where she got the volunteers there, and she, that's like I said, she's such a great community worker. She loves to, expose the culture. She
Mm-hmm.
loves the culture and she wants to know that Cambodians are here in Charlotte. So her goal was to, let's let them know that we are here. And she just, she's able to get all the dancers and stuff like that together. And so we are trying to learn two new dances that will have like the modern dance with it as well to perform in September the 27th
Mm.
is a Concord International Festival. So Concord is a city right outside of Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a pretty nice big art festival, international festival there. So our girls are, going to be performing there, and then we are also hoping to perform in the Charlotte International Art Festival with Bloomingdale Arts, and that is on September 14th. So we do have two big festivals that we are preparing for.
That's amazing because growing up, we did.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I did feel invisible. Like I felt like I had to blend into the dominant culture, and people
Mm-hmm.
never really knew where Cambodia is, and like
Mm-hmm.
what Cambodian
Mm-hmm.
culture is like. Like, oh, is it like Thailand? Is it
Mm-hmm.
what's the food like? Is it like Vietnamese? Is it like
Mm-hmm.
Thailand? Or is it like Thai?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm so proud of what you're accomplishing in North Carolina
Thank
there.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad you just mentioned that because and then that goes back to like teaching history, right? Because so the first day of class, the first thing that I did was I said, I want you guys to know that we're going to teach a little bit of history in the Khmer language class as well, because it's so important for you guys to know your history, to know yourself, to be able to identify with who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So we passed out a blank map of Asia, and we had the kids circle or try to like figure out, where do you think Cambodia is?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing we did. We helped them find it on the map. This is where Cambodia is. This is where, the heritage started from, your culture, and that's where it is. And then also we also told them about how the Cambodian language came about. When did it start? And it started in India, and it became, I think, like seventh century or something like that. I'm sorry, it's not on paper, so I don't remember. But as of like how the Cambodian written language, came about. So we taught them a little bit of that, and then I just encouraged them to like find out a little bit of history on your own, and then next time when you come to class, maybe share a fun fact that you learn of about history to the whole class, and
Amazing.
that way they can learn a little bit of history in there as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. You know what? I forgot to find your advice to your younger self. Did you send that over?
No, I
Okay.
did not.
Because I got your bio and your pictures, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
find
I
that.
I Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, I thought you just told me like, "Hey, kind of go over this." I didn't know I was supposed to send
No,
that back
no,
to
don't
you.
worry about it. I'm
Uh-huh.
asking you now if you've
Okay.
given it some
Uh-huh.
thought. Like, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old
I
self?
did. I did. So to my 16-year-old self, I would definitely say go back and talk to your dad. Get to know your dad. Because just like I mentioned, my dad passed right after I graduated in 1998. I graduated in 97, but I didn't sit down and talk to him and get to know his story.
Oh.
Get to know like what did he used to do when he was a teenager in Cambodia? What was his experience like during the genocide?
Mm,
What was he doing when war was happening? Where was he? How did he play in that whole craziness and stuff like that? And so those are the things that I wish that I would have done at 16 before he passed, because I didn't know that side of him, and I wish I did. Sat down and talked to him. And the reason why I say that is because like it wasn't until like I was 30 years old before I actually sat down and talked to my mom
mm,
about her story. I did not know. I looked at mom and just be like, "Hey, that's mom. Okay."
mhm,
And then
mhm,
after I actually sat down and then like know her story, it made me look at her so much differently, as of like what a strong person this person is, as of like what she witnessed, and like how it was for her growing up as a teenager in Cambodia.
mhm,
um like having to like kind of like raise the family with her being, cooking and cleaning in the village to make sure that she was making some kind of income to help support her family. And that's like how her life was as her teenage life. And then when she got older, witnessing how her two of her brothers got killed by the Khmer Rouge and thrown in the ditch right in front of her. It was just like
Did
this
you
is what
didn't
my
know that
mom went
before that?
through. And no,
Did you know
no,
that?
mm-mm.
Wow.
That's why I said, yeah, until that's why I said until my 30s. And so that's when I looked at her so differently. I was like, she came to America, and she went through all this trauma, and that she never shared, or like basically never put it on the children as of the trauma she went through, until I actually sat down and like asked her questions,
Did you know
and
what
like,
to expect? Like, did you know the sort of stories that she was going to share with you? Like, did you have a
no,
general idea? So you
no,
weren't,
no.
because I haven't sat down with my parents to ask them those details either, from their
Yeah.
childhood to even
Yeah.
now. I mean, now it's,
Oh,
yeah. Um,
I would strongly recommend to do
I
so.
know, I know, and
Yes, I would strongly
what's holding
recommend
me
to do
back
so.
is just unpacking everything, and
Mm,
I'm just kind of scared of
mm,
what I'll hear.
yeah,
And I know that shouldn't
yeah,
stop me, but it's really it's a very uncomfortable feeling that I have,
uh-huh,
that I don't really want to
yeah,
face, but I know I want to,
mm-hmm,
but I don't at the same time. I don't know how to
mm-hmm,
explain it.
mm-hmm. No, I understand. I understand. You may be like, opening up some trauma that you may not want your parents to, have to endure again, right? So I
Mhm.
understand. So maybe start with just maybe a question or two and see where that goes, because that's
Mhm.
exactly what I did with my mom. It's just like sometimes I was asking her very hard questions where she would break down and she would say, "That's it. I don't want to talk about it no more." And I'm
Mhm.
like, so I respected that. And I would give her a week, a month or so. And then just all of a sudden, I just have like, hey, I have another question or so that just pops in my head as of like, just being curious. And
Mhm.
then I would ask her about it again, just like that's how I found out about her brothers being killed the way they did. I found out about how when we were trying to make our way into Thailand refugee camp, she told us about us, trying to escape in the middle of the night, so the Khmer Rouge wouldn't hear us, so and things of that nature, and how she like was telling me how I was the baby and I was crying, and she was trying to keep me quiet so we don't get caught, and how she actually witnessed other families leaving children behind because yeah, like they actually left children behind when they were going to cross the border to get into Thailand and things of that nature. And then like she told me about how she needed help because I wanted to be carried, and then my older brother wanted to be carried, and my dad had like pieces of gold, and they would actually offer other people to the gold to help carry us, but they refused it because they were like, no, we're going for our safety, we cannot help you with your children, things of that nature that she told me, and just made me look at my parents on a different level, the things they had to go to get us to America.
Yeah, I get little tidbits here and there, but I never
Mhm.
actually, you know, sit down and ask questions. Like she'll volunteer,
Yeah.
my mom will volunteer some information, and then it'll be it, and then like the topic will change.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I do
When
want
did
to
they
this
come to
summer.
when did you guys come to America?
And well, I think we are Canadian. So
Mhm.
1985.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would strongly recommend to do so because just like I told you, that's one regret that I
Mm,
do have. It's just
mm,
I didn't ask those questions with my dad because I'm
yeah.
pretty sure his experience and his story was, like would have been awesome to hear,
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
from based on what my mom has to tell me. But and that's why this is so important, the nonprofit organization is so important to me, is because I don't want storytelling to be lost, with the grandparents not being able to communicate with the grandchildren, they're not able
Mm-hmm.
to tell the stories,
Mm-hmm.
you see. So
Mm-hmm.
like my stories of my mom, with her telling me, I'm able to relate that to my children and even my nieces and my nephews. There's some things that I'm pretty sure they didn't even know that was grandma's story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think a lot of us who haven't talked to our parents about their stories yet, I think a lot of us are
hmm
thinking about it now. So if you're
hmm
listening, you haven't done so yet, AhNy does encourage you, and I encourage you as well to get
I
to know your
do.
parents at a deeper level. Yeah, they're not just your
Yeah.
parents. I remember listening to
hmm
Death in Cambodia podcast by Dorothy, and she had interviewed someone. I
hmm
think it was a writer. I don't remember the guest's name, unfortunately, but she was saying how when her mom passed away, she had the same regrets as you. She didn't know her mom beyond being her mom in her current life.
Mm-hmm.
She never knew what her mom was like, and she never knew what her mom's childhood was like and
Mm-hmm.
what she endured.
Yeah.
So it was a big regret of hers, and I hear that common that common theme amongst some people who have lost their parents,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
20 years old, you've graduated. What would you tell yourself then? What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Um, I would say focus more on education. Focus on the education. Focus on just learning things like building your credit, things of that nature. Because we knew nothing about credit, right? Just like I mentioned, my parents, they were just always, everything was cash on. So even when I graduated high school, I knew nothing about credit.
Mm,
So, that's something to, I would definitely go back and redo all of that. So it doesn't have to be so hard to pay for student loans now, learn more about scholarships to pay for college,
mm-hmm,
and, focusing on your grades in high school so you can get scholarships when you go to college and things of that nature. Just little things of how to not be so financially burdened
mm-hmm,
after college.
mm-hmm.
That's definitely something I would have told my 20-year-old self to focus on.
Yeah, but at that point,
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
you had someone that graduated college or went to college or already, experienced that, you would have
Mhm.
had that resource to tap into, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So that's like something also I do want to venture out into, like when we do like hopefully little workshops and stuff like that for
Mm-hmm.
the community, is just teach them a little bit more about credit.
Right.
Because like we do have some, Cambodians that are new to America,
Mm-hmm.
that's, just probably been here 3, 4 years, and they probably do not understand how important credit is, or how to work on your credit to improve it, because like with us growing up having no credit at
Mm-hmm.
all was almost as worse than having a low credit,
Mm-hmm.
when you had no history of any
Borrowing.
buying a car or
Yeah.
having a credit card open. You have
Mm-hmm.
no credit
Mm-hmm.
is kind of worse than having low credit
Mm-hmm.
score.
Mm-hmm.
So, just teaching them things of that nature is something, a workshop or so, that I also want to branch out
Mm-hmm.
to as
Financial
well.
literacy.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're wrapping up now. What
Okay.
are a couple things that you'd like listeners to take away from your story?
That is, it's never too late to reconnect with your roots. It doesn't matter how old you are. When you know history, you know yourself. So, you can proudly say that you are Cambodian and American at the same time, and it's okay. Okay. So just reconnect. That's all I can say, is just reconnect with yourself, and, it's never too late.
AhNy for sharing your story and your struggles, your journey, and what you hope to achieve with the Cambodian Legacy Project. I know you're just getting started, so I'm super excited to see what you have in store. I know you have an event coming up that looks just a painting event that looks fabulous. Maybe next time you could do a virtual one so more of us can attend too. That would be pretty cool. And yes, I am down for the sarong party as well, as you know. And yeah, the dance competition that we talked about, or something along that line where we can get different Khmer communities across the continent to come together. Like, how amazing would that be? And I think that it's pretty cool that we are on opposite sides of the continent. Like, I am on the West Coast, she's on the East Coast, and here we are supporting each other and bouncing ideas off each other and rooting for each other. It makes me so proud to be part of the bigger Cambodian community. And it makes me so proud to know someone like you too, AhNy, someone who is always thinking about others and ensuring that our heritage will be celebrated generations going forward. Well, thank you again for that. If you enjoyed this episode of Khmer Voices, make sure you share it with someone you think would enjoy it too. And if you haven't given the show a 5-star rating yet, wherever you listen to podcasts, please do. And again, remember, this is the last episode for season 1. I'll be back in August for season 2. Samakun Charan for listening to Khmer Voices. Enjoy your summer.